I'm going to do some work to this 442 today. Before that, a little update on the garage. We got this bike back here. I think a case seal is starting to come out on it or something. So I'm going to work on this at some point during the winter. Got this machine here for snow removal. First thing I'm going to do is grind on these welds. I'd welded up this door a while back. And then I may have to do some touch-up welding after that. And then get this into epoxy paint. And I want to get the door back on the car. I'm sick of it being in the way. This hinge is pretty bad. Not looking forward to finding what we see there, but we're going to rebush it, weld it up to whatever we got to do to get that tight again. And I want to get this car sealed up. I'm starting to get fuzzy rust in some spots, so I have to wire wheel it all back down. Then we get epoxy primer on it. This trunk lid was blocked, and then we got some metal showing. So I want to get that in epoxy primer as well. I'll attempt to get the rest of the interior in epoxy primer up to the dash area. But for now, we'll concentrate on this door. Let's start with a 4.5-inch flap wheel. If you recall, there's welds all over the store. There, that, here, there. I have to get in there with a grinding burr. It's gonna be quite a bit of grinding to get this door looking normal again. I've ground down where I'm satisfied with it. Fit my screw. I'm, however, not satisfied with a couple spots here, and completely unnecessary, but we got some low spots. I'm gonna fill them out with weld and go over it again, try to get a better finish. And I've been watching this area. I knocked this down and reshaped it because I didn't like the way it was shaped. And there is just like lots of rust here, there and there. So I'm wondering if I got, it looks like maybe there too. I wonder if I got pinholes in there where moisture's coming through it. So I'm going to clean this up and just re-weld these couple spots and then knock it down. I do not want it rusting through the bodywork. So right there, I think I'm going to just touch it right there too. But especially these back two. Weld it back up and polish down. I think the filler will cover this up pretty good.
Well, that's a bummer that it had to happen, but that's where mice got in my car and rusted it all out too. Brand new headliner. It looked like a inside of a coffin. But they got up in there and I'm seeing rust coming through, and then took the headliner down. I picked out tons of foam, from underneath, or fuzz from under the carpet, and it was all pissy smelling and rotted it out.
This is the original door off this car, all the mined, see all the Mayan gold on it? Well, this didn't have 3 holes either. So I'm not going to put that 3rd hole in there. We're just going to open up what we got there. That's what I ended up with. That's what we're going to run with. Looks better in a big hole. She's wiped down with the acetone. I'm going to put it in some epoxy primer, seal it up.
There was some pitting, and we were just seeing if it's bond. I don't know if this is where the split was, but there's too much in there, and if I can just eliminate it, I won't have to worry about those pits.
Got the inside of the door and this trunk lid into some epoxy primer. Just trying to seal it up. The roller is gone on the bottom of this hinge, so I got to take it off here to repair it. Parts are still in the car from the last hinge. I'm going to have to review the video to see what I did there. New striker bolt here. We're going to use parts off this pin to do it. If I could do welding on this bottom hinge, I'm gonna also take that off. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is clean up this door jamb. Get it into some epoxy so we can look at getting the door back on the car. Probably before that happens, we'll get this whole inside and do epoxy primer also. There lies the spring. Seems that they always land right there. Seems to be in good shape yet. Boy, that pin is just worn through and bent. This is loose. Some bushing left there, but no bushing left there or there. I wonder if I could machine an aluminum sleeve or something on there. Maybe that would last longer than this rubber. I'll try these for now though. I think I've already done some cleaning in here. All that seam sealer is gone off of there. So I've already got this surface. But the rest of these surfaces I'm going to wire wheel and then maybe do some sanding. If I have a flat surface I can get the sander on. I'm going to paint up this A-pillar too on all sides like I did over there. I think I'll work in this corner, just get the corner of this dash painted. You can see all the rust that was behind the hinges. It's just fuzzy rust, but it's still nice to get it off of there. This fender looks like it's pretty well filled up with dirt and stuff. Coming up through this area here with the wire wheel, I decided to take the pin switch out so I can get in here real good. And these wires are kind of corroded. I'm glad I did. I'm just going to pull them out, label them as pin switch. Maybe even plug this back in. I got that wire wheel in there as good as I can, that angle grinder. Cleaned up all the way around the whole thing. Got the rocker too, and this is all perfect metal. It's a couple rust bubbles, so I touched the wire wheel of that, and I'm gonna need a patch in the lower fender here. This fender has to get off to properly get in there to clean all that. I'm getting pretty serious about finishing this. I think I'm gonna take this whole front clip off just so I can get in there and get everything done. Get all this crap out of here, get the firewall sealed up on both sides.
Gates. So mine was called the Hog. And that's got a wide enough area while you're trying to get something level. This is just to knock stuff down. It doesn't really go high speed. But with 40 grit sandpaper, I mean, it just levels it down flat. But when you're taking off primer, well, this has multiple paint jobs on it. You don't want to go all the way down to steel with 36 grit. You're just knocking off the paint first, and then go down to 80, 120, you know, as you're doing the metal.
So we'll try to knock all this primer off. Then when we get close, we'll probably go to the VA and a little fire grit. Back there that held moisture. This is actually thicker than we thought, so we're just going to cut it out and then die grinder on the edge.
Right. If I would have been out there with a die grinder, I thought it was going to be paper thin. It was actually pretty good metal. We'd have burned up a die grinder bit, but this way we'll just eliminate the whole area.
Going super shallow with this cut.
This is what you find in between the two pieces that holds moisture, and that's why she rotted out.
And it's going to be fine from here down, I think, where it's pinched together.
This is where we differ. I would have gone all the way to the bottom and you wouldn't see a weld, but he wants to make a patch, and then you got this weld you gotta you know, do body work until you don't notice this where it's welded.
I don't want to screw up this lip down here.
Yeah, but when you weld here, you might connect, and if you ever do a door skin, this will be stuck.
I don't think I'm ever doing this car again.
This is cut out now where the rust was. We cleaned out in between there and cleaned it up as much as you can. You got welds through primer. You do the back side, and here's the patch that's going to go on there. Then he'll weld it, and you'll see it after he grinds it down.
This side, the corner has scraped the sidewalk a few times. I think I'm going to build this up with weld a little bit and then try to knock it down.
It's watery.
started knocking down the weld. You can tell I need a little bit more in some spots. So I'm gonna add it now to make it a solid weld. We're reshaping this corner here.
So I blocked this out, and I found out I'm not good enough to be able to just do a little patch here, a little patch there. I gotta go from one length all the way to the other. Use a long board file, blend it in. So this whole area had to be, you know, from here up and from there across so that this was level and going from this side to that side. And I'm doing it till I'm just breaking through, and the roof line has to come down. So this is a crisp line all the way down. And then we're going to be putting heavy primer over it. So then I got to do that again. It's just hard. I've seen guys that are really good at it that can just touch up shit. I have to go a full length or else it starts getting wavy and you're chasing Bondo, and pretty soon Bondo gets thick. So that's why I'm going until I just start to break through the metal, so that way you know your Bondo is as thin as it can possibly be.
So here's the patch. We set it in just a little bit low. We'll do a smear of Bondo over it. Here's the corner after it's been reshaped.
It's Saturday night, ready to take off. Just spread some Bondo so then over the night it'll be hardening. And we found all the places when we sanded it down where there were little dingers and stuff, and it didn't pay to try to knock them out. I just end up screwing it up, make them come outward. So we filled those little dingers and covering up that patch in this corner.
How we filled in along the bottom because where they made the fold, there's like a wave in there. A little wave underneath this crease too.
Thanks a lot for watching Oldsmob 455. Hope you enjoyed it.